the 718 JD Sports.
Welcome to the LA edition of the JD Sports Podcast. We have three LA legends, all different backgrounds. Eric Koston, Baron Davis, Aleali May, thank you so much for joining us. I want to start with a question for the group. What does LA do better than any city in sneaker culture from your vantage point?
The blend of sports with hip hop, with lifestyle. So basketball players just like skateboarders. Skateboarders wear basketball shoes. Dudes in culture usually wear, women design sneakers. Yeah. So we kind of like mash up, like the culture, but we like infuse like this collaboration about, is this a basketball shoe or is it a skateboard shoe? Is it a skateboard shoe or is it a basketball shoe? So it's really just kind of like a lifestyle play with the shoes.
What would you say?
I mean, that's interesting that he brings that up too, because of, you look at skateboarding's origins, it's adapting basketball sneakers. High tops, flat sole, has enough grip.
Yeah.
People skating in the Jordan 1, is that
yes.
what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. I started in 1986 skating, but like my idols, Mark Gonzalez, Lance Mountain, Natas Copas, even Steve Caballero, even Tony Hawk.
Yeah, Tony Hawk was in ones.
That's why ones have such a place in my heart, you know what I mean? Because I just wanted those. And it wasn't even about Jordans. It was about my heroes, and I wanted the shoes that my heroes were wearing.
And what would you say, like, to their points and how it crosses over, and like you doing a one, which is like crazy, like just the history of 1986 and him talking about his idols, and then we're gonna get to all your guys' signature shoes, but like you doing a Jordan 1, like.
Yeah, I mean, crazy. And my one was dedicated to LA and to LA style. Growing up in South Central, I really wanted to, a lot of people don't look at LA as, a fashionable state, but I'm like, we're in cars, so you don't see us, but really trying to hone in on what materials. So I went corduroy. Obviously, I think corduroy is such like an LA fabric, but also bringing in the corduroy slippers that my dad would wear from the swap meet.
Yeah.
So, I'm bringing that on a shoe, but it being, the shadow colorway, I really thought about NWA, Kings, Raiders, it was really like an LA thing for me.
Yeah.
And I think it, brings together all different cultures for a shoe, especially a Jordan 1.
And then like some specific models like the Cortez and the, you're
Chuck
wearing
Taylor's
Vans. Chuck Taylor, the authentic.
I mean, but you got to think about the weather, you know? So it's like, we don't wear Timbs because it's warm here, you know what I mean?
Right.
But like, you're going to catch us in Vans. I mean, Air Maxes, there's a lot of similarities, but I think, we definitely dress, towards our lifestyle.
Definitely.
And it's not just like a Jordan thing or a Ones thing. It's like, New Balance get play here.
Yeah.
Vans get play here. Reeboks get play. Like when you start moving around LA, you start seeing like just different sections got different shoes that represent. It ain't everybody just all on Ones or all on Jordans. Like we will accept rocking vintage shoes or trying to bring some back. Like I feel like it's like we a big ass swap meet. You know what I mean? And like we all thrifting, waiting for like what's next or what's new.
And Baron, I want to get to you because like I feel like you've played in every different brand throughout your career. And like really, like UCLA,
I really switched from Nike to Reebok.
Yeah, but like UCLA, the Reeboks, and then Nike, and then Li Ning. Talk about like those different brands and like what was the biggest difference between all three of them?
I remember just being in college, I was always kind of like a renegade. UCLA was Reebok. I wore Nikes and put a tape over my shoes because they wouldn't let me wear the Iversons. Then they started letting me wear the Iversons because I ran into Iverson at the club and he was like, "Oh man, send him the shoes." So it started with the Iversons and signed with Nike. Left Nike, signed with Reebok because I thought Reebok would let me do more like creative stuff, more marketing. And then when I was at Reebok, I was like, damn, dude, like it ain't nowhere else to go. Reebok brand was kind of failing and fledgling. And, I knew a lot of my people were going to be gone. So I was like, man, let me see where Yao Ming on. Let me go to China.
Yeah.
I went on like a basketball tour with Yao Ming. And then I linked in with Li Ning, and they gave me my first opportunity to have like my own JV deal. And so I got to design my own sneaker. And that was cool because like you're dealing with a whole different, language, a whole different like style, and people trying to adopt, kind of like that Western culture.
Yeah.
And so I was able to like be first in that, which was cool. And I think each brand like brought something unique for me because I'm always looking at like, what's the next commercial? What's the next marketing play? Like, what's the next film or something? Like, how can we, expose the brand the right way and make sure like it's relevant, with the right people, in culture. So with Reebok, it was, they had signed 50 Cent and Jay-Z.
Yeah.
We had did a TV show, and it was like athletes and Hollywood people directing. So it was like an opportunity for me to like take a step outside of not just being in the shoe, but thinking about Nike, the freestyle commercial, the Ray Guns commercial, trying to be like more behind the scenes in front of the camera too.
It's funny, we were in Philadelphia and they were talking about how Iverson was in the city and like, in the clubs, but like expand on the story. You saw him in the club and he was like, you gotta get in Reeboks?
Yeah, so look, at UCLA, we was going back and forth because they was sending us to Reeboks, and it was like, man, I'm not wearing those.
Yeah.
Like, them shits is trash. You know what I mean? So I just got some Nikes, and I play better in my Nikes, so I put the tape over the Nikes. And the equipment manager from UCLA, he would get mad all the time. So I was like, man, I'm not wearing no Reeboks unless Allen Iverson let me rock the Iversons. That's them was the hottest shoes out. We UCLA, how the hell we not in the Iversons? We in some damn team shoes that they selling on East Bay. You know what I mean? So we used to hang out at the club. We couldn't get in, so we was just, doing some parking lot pimping. And Iverson pulled up, and we ran down on him like, Chuck, what's up, man? Let's get the shoes. And he was like, oh, man, you ain't in my shoes, bro. Like, let me make a call. Next thing you know, like, the whole team had Iversons. We was straight. We was
That's
cracking.
amazing.
So, yeah, if we didn't hang out that night at the club, we wouldn't have saw it.
Worked
Playing
out.
the ones you don't want to play.
There wasn't no DMs back then.
Yeah, exactly. IRL, in real life, for sure.
You had to go make it happen.
How do you feel about the sneaker deals today between like Ant and SGA, and like they're going back and forth? You talked about the marketing, but like they're even like trading jabs with each other. Do you think it's like healthy competition?
I think so.
I think so.
Think about like Kobe era and stuff like that. You guys all seen signature lines, but like the marketing now is directed at like going at each other.
Yeah. Taking jabs. And anytime they slip, you can kick them while they're down.
Yeah.
And vice versa, right? So it's like, but I mean, that's part of the game too, right?
Yeah.
It's trash talking. I'm sure you've dealt with plenty of that, Baron. I think it's good banter. It's good competition. Yes, they need to compete on the floor, but they also need to compete in marketing.
Yeah.
In their brand deals, and they have to fight, and that's.
Which shoe do you like? Who has a better shoe?
Luka or Tatum?
Or between Ann and Shay, right?
I like Shay's.
Okay.
I think it's really smooth. The colorway is a baby blue. That kind of like butter yellow color is really fire. And I think for a Converse, I would have never expected that.
Yeah.
I do like, I really like that design. I've been trying to play again.
Oh, okay.
My old
Really?
ass.
Nice.
My old ass is,
Let's go.
Run with some friends. It's fun. I used to play a long time ago, but it hurts my body, you know, and I already hurt my body in other ways. So I'm like, it's been pretty fun to get back on the court.
The other ones was Ants.
Yeah, the AEs, which like were sneaker of the year.
Those are fire too.
Yeah.
I saw some like silver, like kind of mirrored joints, and I was like,
it's crazy that there's like a rise in on-court basketball sneakers, because you think of like ones that are always in the conversation. Now you have this new crop of young talent who are stylish, they have the attitude, and then now they have the shoes to match. So Baron, you talk about going to China. It's like, I think you had the Li Ning deal like 10 years before D Wade.
Yeah.
What was it like? Like, what is it about? And then talking about Ant, he launched the AE2 in China this past summer, and then LeBron launched like his 23 in China. For people that may not be aware of, like, what is it about that place that's so impactful in terms of sneaker culture and rolling out shoes?
I mean, they just love the culture.
Yeah.
Right. You go to China, you see dope customs, you see different type of brands, just the way they kind of treat design and fashion is, I'd say, is very similar to like like LA street, New York street culture. It's crazy because there's so many basketball fans, like over 400 million basketball fans. So why wouldn't you?
Yes. Yes.
If you're an NBA player, launch your shoe or your sneaker there, because they're just consuming all the content that they can, right? They're on a different time schedule. So like, our next day is, the day behind or they a day ahead. And so it's cool because they love basketball so much. They trying to define their own unique, like, what is culture to China. And so when I first went there, it wasn't really like, it was trying to tell them like, it's okay to be unapologetic. And then now you see like, D Wade doing what he's doing, signing athletes to Li Ning as a brand as well, getting them exposure in China. But I think it's great because they love the culture. They love hoop. They hoop all day. Like you go to a park in China, it's like 300 people waiting next.
Wow.
It's like 10 courts.
Really?
It's a lot of, there's a lot of
I'm
basketball.
not playing, dude. You like
what?
damn. It's like 20 courts and it's at least like 2 or 3 teams waiting next on each court. It's like 500 people out hooping, and we walk through the malls and play like some pickup games, and it's like thousands and thousands of people out there. It's like the stuff we want here. Like we want people bought in, but can't everybody make it on time? Yeah. But there, oh man, it's cracking.
So much more.
Yeah.
From an analytical standpoint, right? There's not many people playing basketball. Of course you want to do your tours and promote your signature sneakers out there.
Yeah.
Because one, they're crazy fans.
Yeah.
You got to try and get some of that market share.
Totally,
Really, right?
totally.
But like they're crazy.
They're crazy.
They're
about the
crazy.
culture.
Kobe, I feel like when his like signature shoes really cracked off is when he started doing those tours in China.
Sure. Big time. They love Kobe in China.
You obviously have a lot of sneaker history with Kobe and a lot of history with Kobe in general. What do you remember kind of like about his signature lines and like him kind of like you and him talking about sneakers and stuff like that?
I feel like the conversations we had, we didn't have too many, I mean, it wasn't too much about sneakers as opposed to like, how do you not get hurt? How do you stay healthy? What do you do?
Like you falling literally like taking bumps and stuff on the skateboard, he would inquire like, how do you stay healthy with your body?
Yeah. I mean, especially when we shot for the P-Rod signature shoe, Today Was a Good Day, that campaign.
Yes.
And it's like, Kobe's going to come by. We're going to have 30 minutes. Everyone had,
Yeah.
me and Paul were trying to get this shot, nervous as hell, right? And we were back there like panicking, right?
Yeah.
We don't have much time, and Kobe's here, and we're bailing. And like, he would do it, and I would fuck up. And then I would do it, he would fuck. Like, so we were just trying to basically follow one after the other. And then Kobe's like, take your guys' time. Like, but also he's like, how do you guys just get back up from jumping down these stairs after you bailed and rolled on the ground? Yeah. You just walk back up and go do it again. I was like, we've just been doing it forever. So we don't know any different. Crazy. But he was like, it's crazy. He's like, if I did that, I wouldn't get back up. But he's super cool. So it was just like appreciated us busting our asses, Yeah. And if I had to play that many games, there's no way, no chance my body could do that. So it's just what we're conditioned to.
And Aleali, like we talk about mythical figures, what is it like? What I love about your shoes is like you did the shadow colorway, but the materials are always like well thought of and the colorways are well thought of. Some are loud, the black and silver, obviously more toned down, but like, what's it like the design process of working with Jordan? And like, from what I understand, he has to like sign off on everything.
Yeah, it is like a mythical creature.
Yeah.
You hear it in the echoes if it's a go,
Okay. Yeah.
All of my work specifically was under Gmo and Frank Cook. And, they really helped just guide me as far as story, wanting to really experiment. Because the first time I was like, I want corduroy, Gmo was like, corduroy?
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, yeah. And then when I started explaining, they're like, okay. And a lot of them were really started out as samples. And then, so the 6, which was pink, like this rust pink with the infrared, that started out as just like a sample because I was really just like, I think it would be super dope. And they were like, we could just put a sample in and see what it looks like. And then, you know, we were like, okay, maybe this should be a part of my announcement to Jordan team. And so it went crazy on the internet. And then, of course, a couple years later, they're like, you know, let's run it. But yeah, a lot of it has been like, it's good. And I'm like, what does that mean? Can I get anything else? But when I saw him in person, that's when he was just like, you know, I really love what you're doing for the brand. And I was like,
Where did you see him? Was it one of those Jordan trips that everyone hears about, or what?
It was definitely in Paris.
Okay.
And they were like, you're about to meet Michael Jordan. And I was like,
Right.
I was like, well, you know, but we got 3 shoes. So, you know, we know each other.
Yeah.
You know, we are family. So, yeah, that was pretty crazy.
And I want to get into like wear testing. I know that, Eric, you're super into wear testing, like you're doing the process now. But Baron, one thing that I want to talk about is you actually, I don't know how you did this, but in Charlotte, you played in dunks. What's the story behind this?
I was trying to look cool.
Okay.
That's it. Like, I was trying to look cool.
Dunks, though, crazy. Which is
So
one of
back
the
in the
original
day,
basketball shoes.
you know what I mean? We used to go to the mall when you young. You go to the mall. And so we go to the mall and like we go to the, the clothing stores, the sneaker stores, and they had better looking shoes than what we were getting for team shoes.
Okay.
And like, I didn't have a signature shoe. So I was just like, all right, well, I got these, but I'm also go with the dunks. I'm gonna rock the Air Force Ones, high tops. So every time I go to a city, you know, me and the rookies, like we hang out in the mall. So we go buy a pair of shoes and then rock them in the game.
Yeah.
And so that was like my whole little thing, you know, when I was in Charlotte, was like a lot of times they would give us team shoes or somebody else's shoe. And I was like, man, I need to be in, you know, a shoe that ain't nobody got. So it was kind of like rock the Air Force Ones, rock the dunks, because those were the coolest shoes that was, you know, popping off in the mall.
Do we think Sheed was onto something with the Air Force Ones, or no, it's a bad basketball shoe?
I don't know, man, because I was balling. I mean,
Okay.
I feel like I was balling. I could jump. I could do it all in the Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
And it was like, for us, we was bringing back the, I think it was like the Force Squad. It was like an old Nike, like Nike first signed the dudes to Air Force One. So our generation was about paying homage to them. And so it was like, you kind of like building out, Nike, we was carving out our own little Air Force Squad. Sheed was kind of like the pioneer. I was doing it. And so all the dudes who were like a little bit different and renegades, right, was kind of like on that vibe.
And, you know, you were just like thinking about it. Playing ball and dunks, it seems so foreign. I think for us, like...
And then I have to remember, like, Converse were, like, you know, so I'm like...
Bob Cousy just getting buckets in the Chuck Taylor.
Just
But, like, you know? Like,
I'm like, ooh, I know y'all feet hurt.
yeah, exactly. But that's funny. So you would just go to the malls and, like, if you were... You're like, oh, I want to...
Go to the mall, go buy you some shoes and you know, stretch them out before the game.
Yeah, for real.
And go hoop. Like, that's how it was. But we get boxes when I was in Nike. I would say Nike took just real good care of us. Like, as an athlete, they give you Jordans, Air Force. You can call and ask for anything, take care of your family. But it was something about like going to the mall and finding out like, oh, they ain't got none of these, you know, and be on the court with them.
Do you remember any of your player exclusives, like the Shocks and stuff? There's like a...
Yeah, I had a, like the BD1 Shock. I still got them.
Okay, you still have them?
Yeah, I still got them in the house, like in a little box.
Nice.
Yeah, those were cool. I got off in those.
Yep.
Yeah, that was probably like my favorite one. And then I feel like right before I went to Reebok, I had like it said Boom Dizzle.
Yeah,
which was my nickname. So then that became kind of like my next shoe for Reebok. My first shoe with Reebok, my signature was the Boom Dizzle.
Yep.
And so that kind of like extended from the Nike, but we had the Shocks. And then I remember they came with the other version of the Shocks with the high strap.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, and dudes was mad and shit. Like,
why not good
function? They had like
functional?
a sock, a strap.
Oh yeah.
You know, they would start doing a lot. The design was fire, but you know, that second iteration of the Shock was like a big ass. Like everything was high top.
Yeah.
Like everybody was in high tops.
Eric, you know, we talked about when you were on the Complex podcast about wear testing the Jordan 4. And kind of like you alluded to the Air Max 95, but what's it been like wear testing and like the research and development of these Jordans that are now being souped up with SB technology, and then we'll obviously get to the 95 too.
I love it.
Yeah.
Before I was with Nike, is like trying to adapt some of Nike's technology to the brands I was with.
Yeah.
That, like, how could we do something close to this? We don't obviously have the resources or sometimes the budget. Now there was times there was skate shoes were cranking. Actually, we were fine, but like to actually get the stuff that really was what Nike had is, you know, you had to still, like, a lot of things you had to develop. Maybe you could find a factory that could have something close to that. But I just learned all that stuff over all this time.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I look at something like a 4, like, all right, look at it now, right? Feel it, walk around, and you're like, okay, this is how you can fix them. You know, I think about that a lot of them. You know, especially a lot of Jordans. You know what I mean? I always want to. I mean, there's obviously other silhouettes Nike too, but there's a lot of J's that I've just, you know, collected all my life, you know, that I'm like, you know, we got through one.
Yep.
It's like, let's do more.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was like a 3 right there that like, I know that you have your eye on. Maybe one day we'll see a
3,
Jordan.
there's a 5 right there. Yeah. And it doesn't take a lot. It's just subtle things. And that's, especially, you don't want to change everyone's perception that they've always been trained to see about that silhouette. It's just little things internally, where this stitch line is. There's all these little things, you know.
How many skaters do you think are working at any given time on like the Jordan 4, where it's like is it just like a small group that are all comparing notes, or what?
No, I think it's, well, the design team, and then it's also, there's wear testers too.
Yeah.
And they have good insight. They get shoes, they get to try them, they give feedback.
What was the most gratifying part of like putting this together, and what was the process like, and what are like some stories that you could share about this silhouette, the Koston Air Max 95?
I mean, first thing, when it was like, hey, it's 30-year anniversary of 95.
Yeah.
They want to do an SB. It's like, what? And then I went up there to pick what I might be working on, right? And that was kind of a surprise. Like, here's an option. And footwear designer up there knows that the 95 is one of my top 5 Nike silhouettes. I was like, oh, all right.
And that
It's
started
like, yeah,
where,
I'm not
though?
doing a dunk.
Didn't
I'm
that
doing
start,
this
like, in
thing. What are you
Japan?
talking about?
Where did the first pair of 95 start for you again?
In Northampton, England.
Okay.
There used to be a recurring skate contest out there, and Kareem Campbell had walked up, and because he'd come from just basically buying them. I was like, what? Where'd you get those? He told me, all right, I'm going to go get them.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that far away. I was like, I'm going to go get them.
Neon 95s.
Neon 95s.
Did you immediately like skate them, or you just wore them to chill?
No, I didn't skate them because
Okay.
I wore them to chill, and I didn't want to ruin them.
Yeah.
One, I wanted to like look good in them. I didn't want to have all trashed up with ollie holes and laces fraying. I wanted, you know, and also I had sponsors that were skate shoe brands specifically, right? And it was, you know, you didn't want to like.
Mess up the money.
Well, also, yeah, exactly. You didn't want to disrespect also the brand you've been working with and who supports you. They always knew I had this sort of obsession with collecting shoes and wearing different sneakers, but that's like outside of where it's public facing, I guess.
Yeah.
Even to explain why there's an SB, because I know a lot of people like, they're like, wow, like they'll just slap SB on anything now. It's like, I kind of want to slap SB on not anything, but on a few damn things that I think would be really sick.
Yeah.
That being one of them. And it's just so that Neon 95, a lot of skate shoe brands that everyone skated for, DCS, Etnies, DVS, they were just, we're all borrowing design elements from that shoe. Like DC basically knocked one off. And they redid it recently too. They remixed it, brought it back, retroed it, whatever, however you want to think. Even back then too, right? It's a little different design, but has this sort of gradient paneling. So yeah, we were borrowing some ideas, right? So it's like, here's a moment where like we can talk about that time. Yeah. But like, why don't we do the real thing? Because this is Nike.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And let's make it skatable.
Yeah.
And we did. The webbing and interior and a lot of that paneling just minimized, so it's more flexible. Gutted the midsole, but in the inside, just we could only go 4 millimeters.
Wow.
Just to get it a little bit lower, closer to the board, right? But there's still an airbag there, but it's, I mean, you can skate in it. I mean, no one really did. Stevie skated it. You know, he had a photo skating in it. Like, there could be some other old footage of like guys in SF maybe, but only one-off type of days where you're just in your chill shoes and you walk up and hang out with your boys at the skate spot you're at, where you guys just hang out and then you start messing around on it, but like that. But it wasn't like you're going out and skating in it all the time. I guess back then I wish we could have, because they look so cool on your feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Does any part of you go back to where the neon 95s, you didn't want to mess them up, that like it's going to hurt if there's holes or scrapes in those, or no, these are fully for skating?
Yeah. I want these, you know, I have skated in these, and now it's funny. It's like sometimes it looks cooler too.
Yes.
They are kind of beat up.
Yes.
Like before, it used to be like early 2000s, I was to walk up in the club. Remember AD? Yeah. Remember that club? Yeah. Like if I was to walk up in AD in like 2002 with like busted up shoes with ollie holes and they're dirty. Yeah. Like I would definitely probably think like, yeah, girls are gonna think I'm looking kind of whack, right? Like dusty.
Yeah.
Right? And like I feel like now you can. That's it. Like it's kind of cool now, right?
They have character, right?
Now
yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. Like, oh, he's
exactly.
I didn't want him to know. It was like dirty and rolling around on the concrete.
Right.
Totally.
Right.
It's different eras, different times, you know.
Baron, you talked about like the Reebok G-Unit and S-Dot era. Do you remember like the whole Rucker Park era and like playing in that? And what are some stories that you remember about that time?
Once again, it was, you know, go to New York, kind of see what was cracking. And then it was like, man, I could be the first person from LA, the West Coast, to ever go to New York, you know, and play in the Rucker. And so, you know, New York is all about the stories, all about, you know, hoop and you know, proving yourself. And so I figure like LA always get a rap that we soft, or like, you know, we play like just skill basketball. And I think a lot of people already thought I was from the East Coast. So I was like, nah, I need to go out there and let them know I'm from LA, like I'm really from LA. You know, so I came out there, I had the Dickie shorts, the house shoes.
Not playing ball in Dickies though, right?
That was the second time we came back. We played in the Dickies and the house shoes, but the first time kind of showed up. Rest in peace to Irv Gotti.
Okay.
Irv Gotti brought me out, Chris Gotti. I came out with Murder Inc. And man, I put on the show. And then the next week, Irv called me like, yo, Kobe gonna be there. Like, you need to come back to New York. I was like, And then Kobe showed up a week after that.
Wow.
And Kobe played in the Rucker, and it became like this thing where like NBA dudes would go to New York and to the Rucker to prove that like, yo, like y'all streetball dudes do a lot of talk, but we can, some of us, most of us can get down how you get down.
Yeah.
Crazy thing was, there was still like some East Coast, West Coast tension. And I just had this brilliant idea that like basketball was gonna be the thing that kind of like made New York and LA really fuck with each other, because, you know, even though we had this rivalry in hoop, like we all was cool. Like Ron Artest was in my graduating class. You know, Elton Brand was in my graduating class. A dude named Anthony Perry, Lamar Odom was in the graduating class. So all of us was playing against each other on the circuit. And so I was like, damn, if I go to New York, like I can make a name for myself in the streets in New York. Mm-hmm. And so that was, and then I can make a name for LA. And so that was the first time I went. And then the next time I went, I brought a whole team from LA to the Rucker. And we
Anyone
played
that
the
you
Rucker.
Team? On the team?
I mean, I think the Game was on the team.
Okay.
Gilbert Arenas
Okay.
was on the team. Chico from Chico and Coolwater, old school. Kenny Bruner, who was at that point one of the top streetball players. J.R. Smith was a rookie. He wound up playing on our team. But we took a team from LA. I recorded it. It's called Road to the Rucker. I never put it out.
Okay.
I may put it out this year, but I took an LA team and we took a tour bus, went to New York, played in the Rucker, won it. And I was like, man, I was all about, like when I was young, capturing these moments.
Yeah.
And so the Rucker was like, if we can take LA, a team from LA to the Rucker, then imagine what we can do when we get a rapper. And so that's what we did the third time. We bought the rapper the Game when he was like trying to bubble And like that led to like all his G Unit, you know what I mean? And like his credibility as far as like my East Coast people took care, you know, and made sure that he was straight.
Yeah.
And that was through Hoop. And so it was like, you know, the streets would take care of you and you take care of the streets, and that's what Hoopers do. And so it was kind of like breaking up a lot of the tension that was going on with like, just on the rap side.
You talk about like bringing LA to New York, but Aleali, I want to talk about like the RSVP gallery, like DNA and like that roster, like you being from LA, but like going there and then that group, Don C, Virgil, and Chicago. What was that like? You know, I feel like on Instagram it bubbles up every few weeks now. Like, remember like this Easy, who just did a Jordan 17.
Yeah.
Like, remember this roster of RSVP gallery. What could you tell the audience about those days, and like just learning that creativity?
Yeah, that was necessary for me to be where I am today. You know, my whole family's like, why are you going to Chicago? It's so cold.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll let you know when I get there.
Yeah.
And I really just, really took a leap. I actually stumbled upon RSVP Gallery's Tumblr at the time, maybe like a couple weeks before I moved. And I was like, oh, wow, they sell and like kind of show a lot of cool things that I'm into, Takashi, BBC, you name it, right? I moved there. They started having like in-stores. So the first in-store I went to was NERD.
Okay.
And that was crazy because no one was there. We literally pulled up, me and, some of my homies from my school, because I was going to college out there.
Okay.
And then the next one was Kid Cudi and Chip the Rip.
Okay.
And that line was so long and it
Really?
was so cold. I waited outside.
How far difference time was it like for NERD?
So 2010.
Okay.
2010, I graduated high school.
Okay.
I moved to Chicago. I was like, I think this is the place. I really thought I wanted to go to New York, but I don't know why I stopped in Chicago.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I'll do Chicago first, then go.
Yeah.
And again, that's really how I met Gmo and Frank. That's how working obviously for Don and Virgil was every day was just like, wow. Like at the time I was working full time at Louis Vuitton at the store, as well as going to school. And then on my days off, like 1 to 2 days, I'll be at RSVP. But I just realized that Louis Vuitton was great, but I was also one of the youngest people there. And I just felt like I needed to just go outside, enjoy this city. And I realized being at RSVP I was just in a happier mood. I was around people that saw things like I did. And like even just being in the space, they would be on tour. At the time, it was Watch the Throne.
Yeah.
And then they would come back and be like, Virgil would always be like, so what's up with the youth? What's up? Like, show me what you guys are into. And I think those moments, even just seeing and selling Pyrex Vision, up until Don C's hats, right? The
Crazy.
Just Don hats, which were a Chicago staple.
Yeah.
Buck 50s, back in the day. And so we were selling all of that first. Hood by Air, there was a lot of emerging brands. And then obviously with Watch the Throne, we started getting brands like Givenchy. This became a stop, obviously, for people who came into Chicago, and it was like a museum, you know? But I learned so much because we were really doing everything. We were like modeling stuff, putting stuff on the website, answering calls, when I tell you how much Off-White we packaged.
Really? What was it like moving at that, like?
The whole store at night was just filled with Pyrex Vision, just basketball shorts, the hoodies.
Yeah.
And it was just all over the floor because we were like, we don't know, the website crashed. We're just packing, like
just couldn't keep
trying
the
to
product
ship
in.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I think that also showed, just being in this hub of culture, right, how that exists.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of times, we grow up in this and then figuring out how we can express ourselves and give it to people like us, I think was really what I took away from it, and why I'm here today.
Love that. And Easy was part of that collective.
Easy was the manager at the time.
Okay.
So, when I'd be like, Easy, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't do this. He's
Really?
like, come on, sis, we can do it.
What, just like the Off-White is going
it
crazy
was
and you're
so
like, enough?
much. It was, when I tell you our whole store, just imagine this whole place, just orders on the floor. We're like, we got to figure it out.
Was it because Virgil or Kanye was wearing it? What do you think was like
It was the mix. It was
Okay.
the mix. And then, then people started calling for the hats,
Yeah.
because they saw Jay-Z wearing the Brooklyn Just Don hat. And we were like, it was just off the chain. But I think Jay-Z was actually wearing a Pyrex hoodie with like a huge gold, like Cuban
I
link.
remember, yes.
And that one set it off for us too. We were
Wow.
like, okay, y'all, like we don't know. We don't have it.
Yeah.
It's sold out.
Yeah.
But those were definitely just the times where I think you really started seeing everything come together for, millennial,
Yeah.
Gen Z.
Changed everything.
Yeah.
We talk about the Jordan 17s. 2002, you're playing in the All-Star game with Jordan. And you told this on Paul George's podcast, but you're hounding him for his shoes. Do you remember that story?
Yeah.
They were the 17s.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But he wouldn't give them up? You just want him to collect them?
Nah, it was just Michael Jordan, and I made the All-Star, and like, shit, Michael Jordan sitting right there. I need something.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm from
for the
around
people
the way.
who don't remember or not watching, I need something from Michael Jordan, but he wasn't. He was like, no. And I was like, what the fuck you talking about? Like, I need you to sign. I need your shoes, bro.
Yeah.
He was like, no. I was like, hey, Black, I need your shoes. He was like, how you know my nickname? I was like, I got you. I'm gonna keep working you the whole game.
Yes.
Sitting next to him, talking to him, making him laugh, getting a lock. I'm like, and about those shoes, he was like, boy, I told your ass no. He never gave me the shoes.
It's funny because I read that you were basically like, all right, the first half I'm going to ask him and then like we'll work on it.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then,
just gonna work the relationship. I don't really know Mike like that outside, hooping and let alone him knowing me. So, Mike is a presence. So it was just, let me just work my charm, my personality. I mean, if I can be friends with Mike, like if Mike can be my friend, like, yo, bro, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I thought I did a good job. And then at the end of the game, he was not budging.
Damn.
He was not coming up off them shoes. I think I got him though anyway.
Wait, you think
everybody put their jerseys in the bin, you gotta
Yeah.
sign and like throw your shoes. You gotta sign the extra pair of shoes. So
Oh, you think you got a pair from him?
I think I got a couple jerseys too. I
Okay.
gotta go check and see what I got in stores, but I think I got you, Mike.
All right. So it worked out. Listen, joined by legends. I love that all of you have had signature shoes, so much history, different backgrounds, but all grounded in LA. And can't thank you enough for joining the JD Sports Podcast. And it's been a pleasure.
Appreciate
Thank you, man.
it.
This is
Good.
dope.